And welcome in. It's Monday. April Fool. No, sorry. I was going to say it's Tuesday, but it's not. It's Monday, the 1st of April, 2019. And if somebody says, and you get a phone call, do you have Prince Albert in the can? Don't fall for that, okay? Welcome in. It's Strategies for Living. I'm your guest host strategist sitting in for David McMillan. My name is Tom Pace from the Talk of the Town, and we are live here from the BIPC Telecommunications Studio, high atop Building D, and outside a chilly day in Shrevetown and Bossier. And who would have thought that on this first day of April, the low was going to be in the middle 30s wherever, and the afternoon high is only jumping up to 53. But that's Louisiana. If you don't like the weather, wait about a day. It'll change, or maybe just a few hours.
That's right.
Welcome in today, yes, Monday. And can you believe that there's going to be March Madness without Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky? Can you believe this? I mean, I watch those games. I'm saying, oh my gosh, by golly, it's time for mistletoe and not a lot of holly, because now I think every major broadcaster is all going, what are we going to do? We've got the Red Raiders, you know. We don't have Gonzaga. What happened there? You know, Michigan State. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, all that's going to come to a head in about a week. So welcome in, and here we are. Today, we're going to focus on Bossier schools because, quite honestly, there's been a lot going on over the past couple of months. They're looking for a new superintendent. We're not going to hash over what happened. Just know that now they have a search for a new superintendent. There's been an interim superintendent that's been guiding the ship, and now they're on a fast track. And as a good friend of mine and a fellow journalist that really knows this stuff, I had to call in the A-team. I'm talking about Randy Brown over there at the Bossier Press Tribune. Randy, welcome in, man.
Thank you, Tom.
Good to have you here.
I don't know if I deserve all those accolades, but I sure appreciate it. Well, thank you so much.
How long you been there now, Randy?
18 years.
Well, see, one of these days you're going to get it right. What do they call you now? I know you're the chief cook and bottle washer, but there is a title.
I'm the publisher of the newspaper.
Bossier Press Tribune.
Yes, and that means I oversee everything that goes on.
And you were having issues with the computer this morning.
You know, technology, we can't live without it. We love it. But sometimes
it's hard to live with it.
Yes, exactly. And this was one of those mornings. Always happens on a Monday.
Yeah, never, always on a Monday. You know what they say, rainy days and Monday get me down, except on this Monday, because in fact, we're going to get straight to it now.
Okay.
It's about 4 minutes, and after the noon hour, Central Daylight Saving Time, sunset's about 7:35 tonight. They've been looking for a new superintendent, and then there was a RFP, or anyway, there was a request for nominees, and some people submitted their resumes.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it got accelerated. Randy, can you give us a little background on it?
Well, it did. The superintendent search has been going on, of course, since Superintendent Smith resigned in February.
Right.
Bossier Schools is over 22,000 students now. Bossier, of course, is the fastest growing, as we all have heard many times, north of I-10 in South Louisiana.
And that's just recently been actually published.
Yes.
Said that's the fastest growing in the state of Louisiana.
Yes. So with over 22,000 students, over some 1,200 teachers, the school system needs a leader. So you have to move fast. And of course, with it nearing the end of the school year, they want to have someone in place, before this school year is over.
And the public information officer over there, a good friend of ours, Sonia Bales,
Yes.
is actually going to be narrating. She will be the moderator for some interviews. When are those going to be occurring? And
They
how?
begin this afternoon. What they're doing, they're interviewing the local candidates first. There's 3 of those. Dr. Vicki Younger from Central Park Elementary will be the first one at 4:30 this afternoon, followed by the current interim superintendent, Mitch Downey, at 5:30, and then Mr. Victor Monero at 6:30. So those will take place today, and then tomorrow, the 3 out-of-town candidates
will
be interviewed. Yes,
Now,
again, starting at 4:30.
my question is this: is the public invited, or is this a closed session, or what?
To my knowledge, the information that we all received this morning said special session of the Bossier Parish School Board, and to my knowledge, the special sessions have always been closed to the public.
Okay, so anyway, we know there are 3 that are in town.
Yes.
3 that are out of town.
Yes. and
Give
then
us those that are out of town, Randy.
the out of town is Mr. or Dr. Brian Bengeli, I guess is the proper way to pronounce that. Miss Elizabeth Swinford and Dr. Clarence Robinson. So those will take place tomorrow, and then they'll be narrowed down from those 6 to 2 finalists, and those will take place again, I think, in interviews with the final 2 on Friday, and then an announcement made at a school board
On
meeting on
Monday.
Monday the 8th.
Yeah, and so this is a pretty quick turnaround now, because you know what? They need somebody in a leadership capacity for Bossier Parish Schools in order to help outline the direction for next school year. Would that be fair, Randy?
That's exactly right on track, as I would say, Tom.
Well, what is it that they're really looking to do? And I know there's the big vote coming up that will will put before the people. Do you want the teachers to have this big raise? And they're talking about a significant raise, right?
Well, yes, but again, Bossier, with the size of the school district and the way the city's growing, there was a bond issue done in 2012, which we've seen so many improvements at most all the Bossier schools, but schools are growing. There's been some new schools built. There's not a new school that's been built that hasn't had to be added on to within just a few years of being built. So, I mean, the district is growing so large over here, there's no way to predict. I wrote an editorial in last week's paper. There's no way to predict. Things are just growing too fast. So it's not like you have a crystal ball and you can say 5 or 10 years from now, this is exactly how it's going to be. Things are changing too fast over here.
It's almost like cellular phones.
Yes.
What you get today is really, it's outmoded by tomorrow or next month.
Well, I don't want to get off track, but as I've told you a few times, I grew up in my family's electronics business, and I learned as a young child when my dad was so nice to let me take home my new audio systems and set them up in my room and so forth. I was changing out stuff every few weeks. And I learned even at a young age, there's no way, and that was, 40 years ago, there's no way to keep up with this technology stuff.
Well, what do they say? The only thing about change is that it's constant.
That's right. So there's needs, at our schools here in Bossier. And the school board is trying their best to meet those needs the best way they know how. So yes, there is an upcoming election with 2 property tax proposals that are going to be on the ballot.
That would help fund.
Yes, fund teacher. They're losing teachers to neighboring parishes, mainly DeSoto Parish, with the rate of pay and what they're paying versus what neighboring parishes are paying. And our school systems over here are growing, as I keep saying, and just can't afford to keep losing those teachers, those personnel.
Okay, so the good news is they're looking for a new leader. The better news is once they get that new leader, guess what? Now they'll all be able to sit down collectively, the school board members, the new leader, all those in administration, and come up with a game plan for this coming fall. So I think it's about time we took a break, Randy. When we come back, I want you to look and tell us what you see on the horizon for the schools.
Okay.
Will there be any new ones built, additions, and or whatever you see? But for right now, let's take a quick break. It is Strategies for Living, live from Bossier Parish Community College, the telecommunications studio, high atop Building D. And proud to be here today with a good friend of mine, the publisher for Bossier Press Tribune, Mr. Randy Brown. I'm Tom Pace, Talk of the Town. We'll be right back.
It's been more than 5 minutes. No, it hasn't.
Hey, can you
I
keep
want
down
it.
for
It's
me?
my turn. No, it isn't.
Please, just keep it down.
I remember days when just driving down the street would give me anxiety. And now look at me.
Don't get me wrong, I still don't love crowded places. But it's good to get out again.
Noises like that used to make me hit the deck. But now, I can keep going.
Transitioning from the military can be tough. We all have unique experiences, but many veterans are facing similar challenges. Life goes on, but some things are different now. Visit MakeTheConnection.net to watch our stories and learn ways to create the story you want to live. No one can write it for you. Make sure it's a good one. Make the connection.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Khe Sanh. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
Coast Guard Foundation gave me funds to attend school. During that same time, my wife was pregnant. The foundation's grant allowed us to buy food, diapers, clothing.
Coast Guard Foundation really helps us to keep in touch with our families. They make an impact and it leaves an impression that you don't forget.
I would like to thank the Coast Guard Foundation for helping out when times were tough.
Because sometimes, even the rescuers need to be rescued. The Coast Guard Foundation, proudly supporting the men and women of the United States Coast Guard and their families. Find out how you can help at rescuetherescuers.org.
Welcome back. Strategies for Living today on this Monday, the 1st of April, 2019. And I'm Tom Pace, the Talk of the Town, your guest host strategist for David McMillan right here at Bossier Parish Community College, the big, as I like to say, telecommunications building in the 3rd floor wing, and I'm out there looking over the Billy Wayne Montgomery Gymnasium, and what a great man he is. Oh, by the way, as I was looking on, because we are broadcasting this live also on my Facebook video feed, I see Calvin Austin III, Mark Goff, a bunch of others. Bill Ham is watching, and so is Jeff Thompson. Now, let me give you the breaking news. There was just an appellate judge election for Bossier Webster. That is now an empty judge seat came up. Henry Brown had resigned, stepped down from that seat, and so there was an open seat, so they had a special election. Jason Brown, a career prosecutor and a great man, was up for one slot. The other was for Jeff Thompson, who's also a district court judge. And congratulations to Jeff Thompson, now to be seated as the appeals court judge for Bossier Webster, which also now will leave a seat on the district court judge empty. So we'll see more about that. But congratulations to Jeff Thompson on his victory. Thank you all for sending this to me. And by the way, if you've not told a friend, we are live on Suddenlink, on the Suddenlink cable system for Bossier, Claiborne, and Webster parishes, cable channel 12. They can tune in, and also it will be up on the Bossier Parish Community College YouTube account. Now, getting back to our topic du jour, which is the life of education for Bossier Parish. I mean, we have got A-rated schools in Bossier. Don't we have?
Yes, sir.
Randy Brown,
yes, sir,
who is the publisher for the Bossier Press Tribune, sitting here in the guest chair. Randy, I mean, this Bossier has really shown their mettle and their strength by scoring well in the various tests.
Yes, top-rated school system. School system is a draw. It's a draw for people to want to live in a certain area, a certain neighborhood, to go to a certain school. As Bossier's growing with the cyber technology industry and, of course, Barksdale and all the things going on that are making this city grow, well, the school system's got to grow with it.
And let's face it, there's nothing better than young minds that will be taught by those who have knowledge and skill. And here's where I want you to go. Tell me about some of the schools that have just grown and have morphed into greater schools. There's one, where is that? It's a middle school that just...
Yes, out in Houghton. It went online at the first of the last school year. 3-story middle school built for 1,500 students, middle schoolers, 3 stories tall, serving the Houghton area that's just booming. I mean, that area is booming. But it looks like a high school. It's actually the largest school in the parish out of all the high schools, as far as physical size. It's the largest school in the parish.
And that was paid for by some money that had already been dedicated.
Yes, it was part of the 2012 bond that was done, which is also added on 2 new wings at Airline High School, a new high school in Benton, right up off of Kingston Road, is opening next school year.
Yeah, do you mean in 2019 fall?
Yes, for the fall of 2019. There's already talk and worries that it may be too small. So, what a great problem to have.
It really is. And to think that that now you're looking to leadership for the school system to be able to work with the school board members, because this is a hand-in-glove relationship, right?
Yes, exactly. It is. You may have seen it in this morning's Shreveport Times. Louisiana's higher education policy leaders are setting an ambitious goal for the state, striving for 6 out of 10 working-age adults to hold a college degree or other employment credential beyond a high school diploma by the year 2030. That's 60% of Louisiana students.
That is ambitious.
That's ambitious.
And really, that's a quick turnaround. That's only 10 years coming up from this next year.
Well, we want the best and brightest to be in our state, to come to our state, but we also want those that are here, which is what this says, training and educating those that already live here to be here. I mean, we want the people coming in from other states, of course, but also training our current students, our current residents. Well, it's going to take great teachers and a great school system to accomplish this goal, and that's kind of the whole point of what we're talking about today.
Retention,
yes,
number 1, and number 2, STEM, science, technology, and math.
That's the future. I mean, things have changed. That's the future. That's the future. That's the jobs. I saw, I believe it's Money Magazine, is now rated Shreveport as like the number 3 city as far as a young adult wanting to build wealth to move here in terms of the median income that's paid versus the cost of living. I don't know if you saw it or not. I saw it over the weekend.
I missed that, but you're right. I was talking with my wife recently. I said, I know Dallas is a burgeoning, just a big market, but it is the cost of living is so high, and also just getting from point A to point B on their intersections, on their interstate, is also a challenge. And you add all that together, Shreveport-Bossier is a 15-minute town.
We ranked number 3. It mentioned in this study, not to pick on any one place, but it mentioned, Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, California.
Yes.
A one-bedroom, just basically average apartment is $2,600 a month.
Wait a minute.
$2,600 a month.
$2,600 for a
one-bedroom average apartment.
I would say probably about 800, maybe 1,000 square feet.
Maybe.
If you're lucky.
So look at what you could get here for that.
You could
live pretty nice.
You could live very nice here.
So point being made, this would be a great place for a young person to get set up and start their life.
And the good news, too, about all this is you're building a family. And let's face it, Shreveport-Bossier, while we are a metropolitan area, a city on the grow, we're also part of a family, and that cannot be discounted, Randy.
It can't. Getting back to specifically Bossier, my dad's in the real estate business, and one of the number one things families ask him when they're looking for a home is, what about the schools? So look at that. When you have a great school system, it draws people. And Bossier is known for that. Like you've said, it's a great school system here, and the leaders are just looking to make it better. And that comes from top to bottom.
Eden Gardens is a good example of a great school.
Yes.
And so are some of the others. Before we run out of time, and I see I maybe have a minute, I must take a moment to talk about the passing of a legend that occurred over the weekend. A good friend of Randy's, a good friend of mine that I've known for years, Margaret Maggie Lewis Warwick. Maggie Warwick was the heart and soul of the Louisiana Hayride during her time there. And she always talked about the hayride. She passed at the age of 79, and she would have been 80 here in April. And guess what? They're going to have a celebration with the Hayride Band.
I saw that.
Tomorrow, Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the Municipal Auditorium, a fitting place for tribute to Maggie Warwick, and visitation, by the way, 4 to 6 at Municipal Auditorium. But if you're going to have a celebration of her life, which is what this is going to be, with the Hayride Band and greats.
And fittingly so.
Fittingly so, tomorrow, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, be there. Outside of that, Randy, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tom.
God bless you, and thank you for coming up and giving us the schedule now for the new superintendent, and we should know by the 8th.
We'll know. It'll be announced on the 8th at a special school board meeting.
I would think.
Yes. In the past, I've always known it just to be announced at the regular school board meeting, but this is going to be on a set-aside special date.
Special date.
Week from today.
That's it. Thank you all for watching today. And for a good friend of mine, David McMillan, who hosts Strategies for Living on Keel every night from 7 to 8 o'clock. I'm Tom Pace from the Talk of the Town, your host, guest strategist. On behalf of Randy Brown, the publisher of the Bossier Press Tribune, God bless you all. May the wind be at your back, and may the sun always shine upon your face. God bless. We'll see you next week, live from Bossier Parish Community College.